2, 1. Hello everybody, I am Venomous Pie. You guys know me full well as the Pinkie Pie of the group, and welcome to another episode of Bronimaniacs Discuss. Oh my goodness gravy. I have with me here today our Mod Pie, which is Little Looney.
Help me, I'm starting to grow leaves.
We have our Coco Pamel, which is Scapegoat.
Hey there. Just hanging around.
Our Fluttershy, which is Violet Bloom.
Unlike Fluttershy in this episode, I actually sleep the night before.
We have our Trixie, which is David.
Can you help me out? I'm in the Everfree Forest and I'm not liking it.
We have our Twilight, which is Sharpwit.
I love light. Copyright deity, do not steal.
Really noted.
Really?
We have our Featherbangs, which is Fall Twist.
I'd like to be a tree.
Oh,
That was so clear. That was so clear that the joke would come.
Yep, we have here our Sunset Shimmer, which is Crimson.
Well, not the bees. That's all I can say.
I was waiting who's
I
gonna
know a
make that
certain
joke.
artist who was probably turned on by that part.
Not the bees.
And last but not least, we have our Starlight Glimmer, which is Neon Blade.
I hope we get out of this forest sooner or later. Last time I've been there, I had to deal with timberwolves.
Oh, come on, those things are pretty
Says the
easy.
dragon.
You're a dragon, mate, and you're scared of timberwolves?
Who said I was scared of them? They're just annoying.
Anyways,
Right.
Oh, he ain't wrong.
anyways, the episode we'll be talking about here this afternoon will be a health of information. That's the name of the episode. That's not intended as a pun.
Feel good.
So you guys know the full deal. We go in a random order for what we do like about the episode. Then we will go in reverse order for what we don't like. One thing each. And then we will give our final ratings. So up first shall be... You know what, Violet? Why don't you start us off?
Okay. So, what I like about this episode, I had to say it's gotta be Fluttershy's character, because this episode is basically her going the next step with her kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And also, this is a proper development because she learns a lesson about how kindness is a good thing, but if you can't take care of yourself first.
Yep. Although that was pretty obvious from the get-go, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly agree with Fluttershy's character.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably the best part about that episode, to be honest.
True.
Hmm.
So anything else I want to say about
Yeah.
it? Okay.
I know Fluttershy likes to be a tree, but I think that's one tree that she doesn't want to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I don't think I'll have a laugh at that again.
So, if that would be all, then who do you pass it off to?
Twilight, I need your help in the library now.
Oh dear. This is gonna be a long night. You saw this library?
The library was a mess.
Reading was never my forte anyway.
There's a book on my... Hey, Fluttershy, there's a book on my head.
Hasn't it been established that Twilight's library is always going to be a mess?
Yeah, because she thinks that one
Yeah.
day they all fall off.
So, what's the point of cleaning it if you Oh, we have a late arrival.
Yes, we do.
Hey, Canada.
Canada.
Sorry I'm late, everyone.
Yep,
Hey.
our Rainbow Dash. Our Rainbow Dash Canada is here.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Rainbow Dash wasn't too fast today.
Damn!
Oh,
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Wow.
Well,
Well then.
he ain't wrong.
This trigger's got 20% cooler.
Anyways, continue, Shopwet.
Yeah, but for my positive, I think I will once again how original will go with the legend and how it's tied with with the comic books, even though this particular comic book is not released. But there is a release in the main series comic that is basically the direct continuation of this story, with the same characters, but the another adventure of Mage Meadowbrook.
Which is interesting to note.
Yeah.
Mm.
True.
So not much to say.
Except,
So
except you like the legend itself.
yeah, of course I do. What can I say? I'm sucker for the lore, more lore. I like the lore in the games, especially even when there isn't much to work with, like League of Legends or Warframe. I like the lore in the My Little Pony because come on, how much we've got in past seasons of it.
That's true.
You know,
Maybe heartwarming, a few stories of heartwarming here and there, backstory of the villains. No, this time we finally got some actually not related to some some world conflict lore. The actual legend we have.
mhm.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just had to think about when both Josh and Will were filming the parts for their collab, with that one part with if we would get some serious background information about the past of the ponies. I think they can eat their words now.
Yup.
Oh yeah, that the collab.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If not for the fact that Will is busy, I probably would ask, you want your words from that collab with cheese or with the tomato sauce?
Knowing Josh, he would take with cheese.
Anyways.
Let's see who I pass it off to. Zekora? No, we don't have Zekora.
Darn.
You won't
You
find a
goofed up,
Zippo
Anna.
here,
We
my
don't have
dear.
Zekora in this group. Crimson.
Let's see. Well, what really piqued my interest in this episode, another plant besides the poison jokes.
Thank goodness, because the poison joke still confuses me.
Well, the poison joke, it plays tricks on you.
Yeah, it does. And this new particular plant that affected Zakora, when I heard it can turn that sickness into something like a tree, actually, I'm like, okay, no, I ain't.
I'm not touching that.
Could you just imagine if the full disease went through with that? Like,
Like, I am not touching that with a 50-foot pole. No, that would be even more than that.
Well, that would explain why the Everfree Forest is unsettled.
I would rather.
And just looking at the place, it does look terrifying.
I would rather jump into the. I would rather jump into the whole field of poison junk than touch one of those flowers. No, thanks.
I would rather.
At least poison joke like how to do is take a bath to get cured.
Yep.
True.
yeah, that's true.
with the right ingredients in it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Swamp fever, you had to go to the ends of Equestria to
Did
find
that
a
pony
cure.
go into the poison joke?
Anyways, moving on.
But yeah, when I first seen that odd plant, I didn't figure out what the. Oh wait, no, I think it was called a swamp something.
I think we'll call it the swamp fever.
Swamp fever, yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was the name of the disease.
Yeah.
I think I was talking about the name of the flower.
Yeah, that too, because I knew about the. I was remembering the case of what it was. I just didn't know the name of the plant.
Fair enough. You got anything else to say, Crimson?
For now, that will be it. I'm just gonna. Pun not intended for that movie because I haven't seen that yet.
Okay. I don't get it.
The It movie.
Oh.
I didn't mean to make that pun. I'm sorry.
I didn't even notice that.
Same here.
You know, it's hard to kind of not to do a pun with such title like It.
Good point.
Alright. I'll just be a good pony here and pass it off to our Rainbow Dash of the group.
Alright, Kanata.
Okay, my positive for this episode, for me personally, is Twilight in this episode. For me, Twilight, I really enjoyed Twilight in this episode. I liked her being the voice of reason in this. Her humor in this episode was really spot on in my opinion. Like when she woke up and screaming about pans and everything, and the whole library scene when she went over to that one person's house and everything. She was just entertaining in my opinion from start to finish.
Yeah.
Good point.
I really liked Twilight's role in this episode.
So some may think that it was unnecessary, but I enjoyed the beginning part when we first see Twilight doing a cook-off with Spike. I thought that was nice. I wish they put it a little bit more focus into the episode itself, but it was still nice to see, nonetheless.
Yeah, we learned something new. Twilight can actually cook.
Yeah. She did.
Although, did anybody notice that tilted cake?
Yeah.
It's from the background. I wonder who made that, Twilight or Spike? I don't mean Spike would seem like a more professional cooker, in my opinion, than Twilight. So I would guess that Twilight made that tilted cake, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, use half her magic for the baking part.
Good thing Pinkie Pie wasn't there. Otherwise, she would devour that cake. Hey, it's a leaning,
Yeah.
it's the Leaning Tower of Cake. Nom.
Yeah.
Yeah, or she would be the one who would think, Twilight, boy, you have to learn how to bake.
There wasn't a cake here.
I just imagine Pinkie coming into the kitchen. It's like, Twilight.
Twilight, you're cooking without me? No.
That was the one thing I kind of wish that was added into this episode. Pinkie Pie being involved in some way with the cook-off in this episode, and possibly with the
Like a quick cameo.
Yeah, or possibly even Pinkie Pie being a part of the adventure. That would have been nice to see. It doesn't hurt the episode that Pinkie Pie wasn't in it. It just would have been better if she was a part of this episode, in my opinion.
Even though we're focusing
Debatable.
It wasn't really focusing on that character per se.
No.
I don't think she would have been all that necessary.
No, she
I mean,
wasn't.
even if she was like a part of a small scene like the cook-off, that would have been enough for me, you know. Pinkie Pie doesn't need it to be in the adventure aspect. It's just in that small cook-off scene. It would have been nice to see Pinkie Pie in that moment in time.
Yeah.
Would have worked since they already had Andrea Lim in the recording.
I think we're getting a little bit off tangent, so let us move on.
Yeah, that's all I have to say for my positives. Who hasn't gone yet?
That would be Bolto, myself, Looney, Who else is gone? Neon,
Neon.
Mm.
Scapegoat, and David.
And Looney.
And me, don't forget me.
I said,
Okay.
And Steven.
I said Looney.
I'll pass it off to Neon.
Well, great that we have that cut out of the way. Yeah. Positive for the episode. It's a little tricky one, to be honest. I mean, I really enjoyed the episode altogether, but there was nothing which that standed out for me, to be honest.
I see.
Perhaps. Well, I have to actually go with almost the same with Sharpwit here, with the world building and the kind of like history behind of Equestria and such diseases as well.
Yeah, that was an interesting tidbit.
And maybe even a second thing which I just realized, to be honest.
And that would be
the witch doctor of the past was actually not a zebra.
No, that was
So that
interesting.
So that actually means that the art of, I would say, of medicine which Sakura is actually working on is not that necessary heritage to her origin as a zebra, which many fans did believe at the beginning.
Maybe zebras have their own medicine and ponies have their own medicine.
Yeah, but the
That's
fact that
true.
something like this was also
Just like the
affected by someone
Europeans
else.
and Asian cultures have their own medicine back in the past.
That's a good point.
And I think that's actually a good cultural reference as well, because now that I'm thinking about it, the witch doctors were in the time of the Black Purge, especially the European region, actually had some of those beak-like masks as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually kind of getting together. I mean, the previous episode has some cultural references from other countries.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's actually interesting to see.
Yep, I agree.
But one
Don't
thing
forget the
puzzles
old
me.
pony language.
Exactly. But one thing is puzzling me. If something as this dangerous is still looming around, why was there no research or anything for that?
Well, the doctor did say it was a very rare disease.
And Major
Still.
Middlebrook already found the cure for it.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if you think about it if you think about a disease of our past, like smallpox, for example,
Which is
something
now
like this is
extinct.
still but something like this is still in research now, even to today. So it's kind of puzzling to
sure.
see that some which actually transforms the whole body into a tree is unknown.
Suddenly the meme went
Dark.
Yep.
I'm never ever
Yet-
seen Flitter 3 again after this.
That meme definitely has a different meaning now. That's for sure.
I think Fluttershy would never wish that again.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Because to be honest, this whole scenario, it has heavy comparison to a game I play, which is Tom Clancy's The Division. I mean, okay, in that game you're kind of fighting against the mutated version of the smallpox, but it is also an old, not really known disease, which was not being monetized.
I would rather compare this to The Last of Us.
Oh god.
In terms of the effects, yes. Because let's face it, The Last of Us, the cure was actually kind of like an Deus Ex Machina, in a way.
Isn't this always in this episode? Kinda?
Not really.
Actually, no, you're right. It's not.
Yeah,
they
because
come
it's
out.
actually it's because it's actually natural. It's a natural cure,
Yeah.
Okay,
not
that's
something
fine.
pulled out of the hat, so to speak.
Damn done in a Deus Ex Machina. This episode didn't.
Mm.
No, it didn't.
Because that's actually something interesting as well. Because in one extra game mode they added into the game, in the survival game mode, you actually have the disease of the game as well, which actually infects, which spreads in your body while you're trying to survive the plane crash.
Ugh.
And this actually has some consequences on your gameplay as well, like recoil and accuracy of your guns and stuff. Kind of like the same symptoms and how Fluttershy got worse and worse when she was trying to get the cure.
Mm-hmm. No,
It's-
well, that could also be derived from a sleep deprivation.
Which has also impacted on her whole immune system as well.
Exactly.
I just find it interesting that there are somewhat similarities between those two things, even though the whole setting is completely different.
True.
I think this is coincidence, but still.
Yeah, but
It is.
it's a little it's kind of like a little bonus for me. Like I said, there was nothing really that standed out for me, but I didn't hate the episode nevertheless.
Anywho, who do you pass off to, Neon, if you finish?
I would say Looney, your turn.
Alright. I remember earlier this season, everybody agreed that they were going to start calling Fluttershy Flutterbolt. And boy, they weren't kidding. What I really enjoyed about this episode was, hands down, Fluttershy herself. Long gone are the days when she was the timid pony too afraid to ever take charge. I love how her kindness went above and beyond by searching all of Equestria for a cure for Zircola's swamp fever. Even losing Weston, risking getting herself sick to help her friend showed some very strong development for Fluttershy.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention when she finally pieced together how Mage Meadow got the honey from the flash bees, that was just sheer brilliance right there. Between this and Fluttershy leans in, I would actually say she's shown some really good character growth this season. I applaud the MLP writers for giving us such a solid Fluttershy episode.
True.
It's no wonder why she's in my top 3 now, and to think, when I started watching the show, I didn't really care much for Fluttershy. But I said it once before, and I'll say it again. It's especially problematic in seasons 1 through 4. The biggest problem I had with Fluttershy as a character at that point was she was a character that could take one step forward in one episode, but then by the next episode she'll take 2 steps back. Case in point,
True.
if you look at Hurricane Fluttershy and then look at Magic Duel, she feels like they're 2 completely different characters.
Yeah.
Which
Go on.
no, you first.
I was gonna say I wasn't a big fan of Fluttershy either. In fact, when I saw season 1 for the first time, I couldn't stand her because she felt too cliche of a shy character, so I couldn't get really invest much into her. It
I don't
wasn't.
think any of us cared for Fluttershy at first.
What you say, Bato?
I don't think any of us cared for Fluttershy at first.
I did.
Yeah, she was a very hard character to get into.
It wasn't until the end of season 1 that they finally gave me something something interesting about Fluttershy, and anyone that has seen the finale will know what I'm talking. The season 1 finale will know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
Oh goodness.
Yep,
Good point, actually.
that was pretty funny.
yep.
You will love me!
What were you saying, Venom?
I was gonna say that yeah, that just how drastically different her portrayals are in some episodes. It really did turn me off on Fluttershy briefly. Like okay, I got into Fluttershy thanks to Best Night Ever. Hurricane Fluttershy really bumped her up on my list. But then Magic Duel came and it really soured her character for me. Not to the point where it became character assassination, like what almost happened with Applejack this season. But it really felt like I didn't really care much for her character because she was way too inconsistent. But by the time season 4 came around, it didn't really make me make her my favorite yet, but there was still a glimmer of hope there thanks to Philip Vanilli, and especially in Easy Being Breezy's. Then Tanks and Memories came in season 5, and holy cow did she escalate from there.
And I would really say your character development is starting to become permanent now.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyways, anything else you want to say, Looney?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Also, is it just me, or I found out the sick main Fluttershy kind of adorable?
For me personally, I don't. But that's just me personally. I don't know about anyone else.
I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't have anything to say on that.
It kind of reminds me of Flutterbats, right? For a bit.
I think Flutterbat was better in my opinion.
Oh, I thought so too.
Oh, nothing will ever beat Flutterbat.
Anyways, who do you pass it off to, Looney?
I pass it off to David.
Oh, that's me.
I said David.
Oh, oops.
Say scapegoat.
It sounds similar.
Sounds like you said Steven.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
Scapegoat, I didn't know you're actually a changeling.
Anyways, go ahead, David.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This episode was very unique. Again, I was watching it and I was thinking, well, there's not much to it. It's a simple, straightaway storyline. But my positive was, again, we get to see Zecora again.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Even though she was in the Everfree swamp or forest swamp area, and she was trying to find that moss. And she fell in the water, and she got that swamp fever disease. And it's kind of sad that she had to have the whole episode in bed.
Yeah, that was really a shame.
I wish you got like more TV time in this episode compared to the last episode.
Yeah, but you gotta realize that. Yeah, you gotta realize that this episode was about her becoming the center point and Fluttershy stepping up and trying to save her friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a pretty good alternative.
Yeah. So, basically my positive is that how we got to see Zecora again, and she was the center of the episode, but Fluttershy was the one that was the one. Yeah, I can't talk. Fluttershy was the one that was stepping up to save her friend from this unlikely disease.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my positive, I think.
Yeah, it's a shame how Zecora had to spend the episode in bed with her bed.
That was a shame.
I'm starting to talk like I know.
But what can you do?
Yeah, you can't win them all, I guess.
No. So who do you pass it off to, David?
Who are the last two? There's two left, right? Who's the last two? We got
me and Balto.
Venomous.
Scapegoat didn't go either.
No. Yeah. So Venomous, in honor of your floof, you go ahead.
Okay then. Alright,
take it away, buddy.
By the way, to explain what David said, it's kind of, similar to, expecting more Sakura, but we got a better alternative. It's the same effect that I have with the Equestria games. I mean, we were coming in this episode, okay, but they're going to showcase the actual games. Alright. It was only a Spike episode. But considering how Spike was well presented, the wall was very solid, I thought it was a better alternative. But
I enjoyed that episode.
But that's just me. But I'm getting off subject here. What do I like about the episode? I really love the backgrounds in this episode. Like, have you noticed that the episode before specifically had a lot more color to it than in previous seasons?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I never noticed that personally.
Well, think about it, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Every season, especially the last 2 seasons, they have been really focusing on the backgrounds to make them more unique to contrast the characters.
Yeah, and the backgrounds in this episode look beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for this particular setup. It's dreary. It's misty. It perfectly sets the tone for the episode as well as how high the stakes are.
It gives this episode a really good atmosphere. I agree.
Yeah, the atmosphere in the episode was brilliant.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. That's all I gotta say. I have a lot more positives for this episode. But I really enjoyed this episode. But I can only mention one thing, and since a lot of my other positives are taken already, gotta work with the program. So I'm gonna pass it off to Scapegoat.
Oh, okay. This time for real.
Yeah, I apologize for causing any
For
confusion.
real. This is not my time.
I'd say that I kind of liked this episode because I didn't realize Fluttershy was that adept at researching and reading.
Yeah, that impressed
So,
me.
It showed me a different side of Fluttershy I didn't see.
Twilight's starting to run off on it.
I guess Fluttershy was a big fan. Was really into bugs growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I liked how when encountering these things, she had to even persevere, even when her best tools worked, like trying to understand the animal, or even a stare failing, that she still tried to persevere,
Yeah.
even though those were her 2 greatest strengths and they got defeated.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked her determination.
Oh, me too. Fluttershy really impressed me in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think she impressed all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have you also noticed, you guys, that when there is a problem, especially in this episode, Fluttershy, she turned into like a little bit of Twilight. She wanted to research.
Yep.
And Twilight's like, yeah, let's do it, but I'm really sleepy and I gotta go to bed. But Fluttershy's like, no, I gotta read up on this.
Whereas like the old Twilight would have stayed up all night, possibly
Yeah.
more than 3.
I was like, wait, why is Twilight going to bed?
I guess he took that lesson from. I guess he learned her lesson from when she tried that in Dragon Quest. Anything else you want to say, Scapegoat?
I think that's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay, then that leaves Bolto.
I passed off to Balto.
Alrighty, well, big points have been taken, so I'm left with something small yet again, and this time it's the fact that even though it's predictable, there are points where Sakura didn't rhyme.
Doctor! Oh my god, Doctor.
And I don't just mean when she was like sick in bed. Like I actually, like there was even a point where like at the beginning wasn't there where she's just like there we go and then had nothing to rhyme with it. That caught me off. At that point, it caught me off guard because the episode just started and she's not rhyming. She had a rhyme right afterward, but
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but truth to be told, that first rhyme that can come a little bit wrong.
Yeah, it did feel a little forced because that's her shtick.
I think that's another reason that they're doing this with Sakura because kind of to tell us like, hey, we cannot always come up with good rhymes. Sometimes you have to take a break from it. So we're making this character sick. We don't have to rhyme. Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's all of your positives, Balto, you can now move on to your negatives.
Yeah, negative. All right. Which means I have to get someone else for this.
Oh boy.
All right, more stupidity. All right, there's been a lot of those in these episodes recently, and this time it's about this old person in the house. Like, so let me get this straight here. you're just gonna sit there rocking in your chair. You're just gonna let random strangers come into your house. First of all, why the hell is your door not locked? And second, if you have a solution to a problem, even if it's rare, why are you just gonna keep it there? Like, and also, how has no one else discovered it? Like, you're just gonna sit your lazy fat ass in the chair and just let other people get sick when you have the cure?
Technically, he didn't have the cure.
He could have, though.
But he didn't have the cure. I don't think he even had the proper ingredients.
He could have gotten them, though, had he have actually read.
But wasn't there that actual part to know how to get those ingredients lost in the diary?
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's true. That's a good point.
It sounded like the bees in this episode wasn't just ordinary bees. It wasn't just as simple as grab honey from any bees and that's it. This seemed it to be different.
Yeah, they were like
even Fluttershy couldn't tame them.
It's like comparing the regular flowers to the zap apple. It's like comparing regular fruit with the zap apples. It's the same effect.
In a way, yeah, you're right, actually.
Maybe he tried to gather some of that honey, but not knowing how, he probably gave up.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
He did say he did try when Fluttershy was out for 3 days. He did say he kept trying to get it, but failed.
He even tried something that we don't want to know.
Yeah.
Oh god, the implications.
Yeah, anything else on that photo?
Ultimate Wolf for your information, and no, so I will give it to the goat that scapegoat. It's a scapegoat. Is he really necessary? Just give it to him.
We don't
Alright.
have this order anyway.
My negative to the thing was, I thought what Sakura was doing in the beginning seemed very extremely dangerous. And I wonder why they were okay with clinging a tail to a branch and not thinking anything would happen.
I wonder what the fans are gonna do with that. I'm gonna get out.
The implications.
Here comes Ludo.
So I was just wondering to it. I just felt that it didn't seem like a good idea to use your tail like a grappling hook.
It did feel a little forced.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
to exit the conflict.
He could have got a rope or something.
Well, we did see Fluttershy using her tail for like a spin attack in Buckball's season, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And when she was Flutterbad, she used it to hang from a tree just fine.
I don't know, just seeing it
Oh yeah.
just had me worried from the get-go when she was just dangling from a tree like that.
In conclusion, the pony's hairs are like the troll's hair.
Yep.
I was gonna say like the trunks of an elephant, but okay.
All good.
But anyways, anything else, Scapegoat?
That's pretty much it.
Alright, so I guess it's my turn now. Oh, what can my negative be? Yeah, this is a very tricky one because I really don't have that many negatives for this episode. There were a couple of nitpicks, but other than that, I really can't find nothing else wrong with the episode. I mean, it didn't really stand out that much compared to other episodes this season. Even the mole, which was very well done, it doesn't really stick out to me like some of the other moles this season. I don't know, it's probably one of the big negatives for the episode. It didn't stick out to me as well as it could have.
I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say. I got nothing else besides that.
So this episode has a strong story and a weak thing.
Technically, you actually read about one possible negative, which is one of my two negatives, which I'm not decided to which one we'll go with. But
Wait a minute. I think I just thought of a negative, and it is I think we just encountered a continuity problem.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Have you noticed about it's about Meadowlark. Okay.
Meadowbrook.
Meadowbrook, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so wasn't okay, she's an earth pony. She's revealed to be an earth pony. Okay. I mean, okay, I can deal with that. I mean, my OC is a potion maker and he's an earth pony. So there goes that headcanon. But wasn't it established in earlier episode that she could have been
Season
a
5
unicorn?
premiere.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
wasn't established in the season 5 premiere that she was a unicorn because of the sacred objects.
Not to mention, she was supposed to be Eastern Unicorn, while Meadowbrook in this episode is a Southern Earth Pony.
Yeah, that was a big continuity error. It's the same problem we have with Danny Dunn, where there's an implication during the crystalline that some Nebula was a unicorn, but in actuality she was a Pegasus.
Well, we could actually go with if that would be only the problem with those objects alone. That I think that wouldn't be the big problem. But yeah, the species and the part of the Equestria is a little bit of a problem right now.
Yeah, actually that could be my negative right there. The continuity issue.
And just like that, you reduced my number of continuity to number of the negatives to 1. Thank you, Venom.
Yeah, this made it easier for you.
You just made me a favor.
Sounds like you have at least an idea for your review then.
You were nice to Sharpwood, how dare you?
Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Just that little continuity mess up. It didn't turn me off in the episode in any shape or form. I mean, it didn't turn me off in Done, even though that had a lot of other problems. But yeah, it was a total continuity error that was worth pointing out. So, with that said, I'll pass it off to David.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of add on to what you're mentioning there, Venomous. You know, when it comes to lore and legend and, you know, magical items, I find it really hard for the writers, to sort of look into more detail of these storylines. Because it's really hard if they mentioned something 2 seasons ago, how do they bring it back and, like you said, continue it without making a mistake?
I can see
You know, it's like, oh, well, this Twilight mentioned this pony was a certain race, and all of a sudden it's a different race. Like, okay, I thought it was a unicorn, but where's the horn? Wasn't this pony a Pegasus? Where's the wings? Why are they messing around? You know, that was really confusing for me.
Yeah, it think it happened twice.
Yeah,
Well,
you know, like, no, go
now
ahead.
that I'm actually, sorry, yeah. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, when you think about like ancient legends or something like that, there is kind of like this era of retelling the stories sometimes. Maybe that's actually, maybe that's actually a thing.
But usually not to that extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that I think about it? Wasn't Meadowbrook also mentioned at the beginning of season 5?
We just said about that. Pay a little bit more attention.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
We just talked about that.
Yeah.
Help me out real quick.
I did tell you that I was tired. Don't judge me.
How was those continuity errors actually mentioned? Was it like a known fact, like from an old history book or something, or where was that continuity error actually coming from?
Well, it could have been, you know. Twilight does have a lot of books on history and lore in our library.
Yeah, but true, but we don't really have a valid answer of where this information is coming from, too.
Actually, now that I think about it, it reminds me of a quote from Assassin's Creed, where one of the people said anyone can write a book. You can write whatever you want in those pages.
Well, actually, in this episode, Twilight mentioned that she learned about Mage Meadowbrook in the school for the gifted unicorns.
which
Yeah,
which could be misleading if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even schools don't really just have the books which they're provided with, and don't really know if the stories which have been told have been written one-to-one in every little single detail for over all those years.
Unless you were actually there.
Yeah.
True, and
Yeah.
as we already know from our world, some scriptings and stuff which is actually written by witnesses are actually have been lost or destroyed due to time or a war.
Exactly.
So we have no real evidence or concrete 100% point which actually proves which of the information and from in that terms too the continuity errors actually have their origin from.
Yeah.
That's a good
Exactly.
point.
I think that's a good point right there.
I mean, I think there wasn't there even some news a few years ago? There was a big error in the Bible as well, that the story have been told wrong due to scientific discoveries.
That's a separate issue.
I don't want to really get into that.
Yeah, that's a little bit touchy, don't you think?
Yeah, let's not get
Yeah,
into
I
it.
just
Let's
no,
not
no,
get
no.
into that.
I'm just saying actually how to compare to this situation in the episode. That's what I mean. The situation itself.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I don't really know the exact detail of that Bible story as well, because I don't really take notice of this as well. But just the fact that something can be proven as wrong after a few years.
That's plausible.
I mean, take modern crime scene for example with the DNA test.
Yeah,
How many cold cases actually have been solved because they could actually prove that the murder because of the DNA test, which was before not really possible.
Yeah, even that can be fabricated.
True.
But we're getting off subject here.
Yeah, we're going a little bit off track here.
I think we went off on too
Sorry
much of a
about
tangent.
that. I
okay,
tend to do that sometimes. It's
fine.
crazy.
It's fine. It's nice to bring that up, but
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna hand it off to next.
That'll be Looney.
Looney, go ahead.
Well, it's really kind of hard for me to say anything bad about this episode because I felt I hit almost every note in the right place. Other than those continuity issues you guys.
Okay, Looney, then stop.
Wait, I haven't finished. If there's anything about this episode that did disturb me, though, it's the very concept of the swamp fever. So you have these flowers that spray a sickening gas at you that not only make you ill, but eventually turns you into the very tree that grows the flowers. Okay, first off, how many have said ponies who caught the swamp fever?
Do you really have to put that in my head right now? Fuck.
The implications this episode leaves behind are a little too much to take in.
Now, keep in mind, we don't think that any of that was intentional.
It still leaves the idea behind. Some of those trees in the every forest could once have been ponies.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not the first. But to be fair, it's not the first time that MOP inadvertently attacked on such dark material.
First time they left me with nightmares, though.
Cockroaches? That was actually before the cutie map. With the cockroaches. I mean,
the cockatrice.
Cockatrice.
Oh yeah, petrification is always horrifying.
Ooh, scary.
Anyway.
Especially if you think about in that particular episode, that trial has been turned into stone as well.
And you know what? Also, to bring up a point is the poison joke. It shrunk Applejack. That's scary. I'm a little pony.
I thought that was funny.
So I thought it was funny, but it could be scary. I mean, geez, you're like 2 inches tall.
So I guess Applejack was Appletini in that episode.
Yeah.
You do realize that actually Spike called Applejack that?
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
the
that
point.
kind of otherwise one of Fluttershy's best episodes, so one of the darkest things I've ever seen them do.
Yeah. So.
Like,
True.
holy jeez, the Equestria is becoming a scary place to live nowadays.
Well, so far, all of those scary things were from the Everfree Forest.
And they'll
Yeah, I think you just blocked it off totally.
And they're all just implied. It doesn't make it true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, actually, the Everfree Forest gets his scary factor back from the beginning of the show.
Hey,
Nah, true.
That's a good move.
Yeah.
hey, one of those trees from the pilot episode are actually ponies.
And anyways, anything else, Little Looney?
Nope. All I know is I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. I'm thinking about this.
Alright, Leon?
Same here. Ugh.
I never
Negative for the episode.
I'm never looking at Flutter Tree the same way ever again.
I think you're not the only one.
Pleasant dreams, every pony. Pleasant dreams.
Yeah, more like nightmares.
It's hard to ruin my dreams.
Oh boy, Luna will have a stiff shift tonight.
They really killed that meme in a violent way.
Oh, they did.
Oh, jeez.
That's the question. Was it actually intentional?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think it was. It's just how it was.
I think it was
Well, that's just
think
a
it was
theory.
a pony theory.
He said it. He said it.
Thanks for watching.
And I thought bad for my theory for the Daring Done episode. God damn it. Like I said, Matt Pat, sorry, but we really like your show. That's why you're kind of like target for those jokes. Ooh, negative of the episode. I would say, and it's kind of like a nitpick, it's actually the incompetence of the Ponyville Hospital.
That's nothing new.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if they actually had a book which stated that sad disease could cause a pony to turn into a tree, you wouldn't think there would be a little bit more security in that.
Well, then again, a question security stinks.
Yeah, true, but the reaction of that one doctor, I mean, seriously.
And you know what the big punchline was?
God himself.
Yeah, he got sick himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now think about what
Actually.
would have actually been happening if Fluttershy wouldn't be able to get the cure.
I must say that the whole doctor getting sick thing at the end was really weak.
Yeah, but this kind of implies my point, and in a really sick way, it actually binds together to the game I was actually speaking about as well.
Also, is it just me or that doctor seemed really insensitive about the whole situation?
Maybe he's working for Poison Ivy.
You know what? If they would actually imply and somewhat villain behind this plague, that would actually make more sense now. Now that you said that.
I actually do want a Poison Ivy-esque villain in the show. It would have been a very good contrast to Fluttershy.
Then again, wouldn't be a little bit too much of a stretch, especially if we have some wannabe villains like already. Okay, that was it for the comic one with
Well, think about it, you guys. If they made villains like the DC villains, like Poison Ivy and the Riddler, wouldn't that suggest the return of the Power Ponies?
They kind of did in a comic book.
Yeah.
But that's not canon.
Yeah, that's not canon.
Yeah, I know, but it would suggest that maybe Fluttershy would at least put on a mask and say, "I'm going to beat you up now."
Well then.
You pick me.
I'm gonna pluck your mane.
Well, Fluttershy was assertive. That's kind of something she would do.
Well, that could be a good hero trait, being assertive.
If you really want her to become Flutter Hulk again, be my guest.
Flutter smash.
Anyway,
That's why I leave the poor flyer flies alone.
anyways.
Yeah, like I said, it's more like a nitpick. I really don't have anything bad to say about this episode in particular.
Alright, Kanata?
Okay, my negative for this episode is a little bit of a nitpick, but it was basically the doctor being rude near the beginning of this episode when he said it's a lot to take in sadness, and then all of a sudden be happy and go, "I'll leave you two to discuss." Like you,
Yeah, that's what I just brought up. He was insensitive about it.
He really was.
Common cliches, common.
I mean, I just that's just a pet peeve when it comes to doctors. Doctors should never do that in general when it comes to anything tragic. Just go all sad and then act all happy. Then when you're walking out of the room, I hate that.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Well, he more of a bail out from the room.
Fuck
Yeah.
this shit, I'm out.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Well, I am so sad for your loss. I am very sad for your loss. Well, time for my paycheck.
Yeah,
like-
pretty much.
There
Pretty
are-
much.
And the most tragic thing about it is that there are actual doctors that think like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've had the unfortunate privilege of meeting some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, get better. Have a nice day.
No, what's my cat?
Don't turn into a tree.
You know, here, I'm going to just give you a shot and call me next week.
Now that's the thing. All doctors are in.
Mhm.
Anyway,
That's all I have to say for my negatives.
alright, Crimson?
Let's see. Well, for one, Fluttershy, I would be so nice to say to you that you're doing such a good job helping out Sakura, but you know you gotta worry about yourself as well, and you stayed up the entire night reading, trying to figure out a curve for Sakura. Oh my gosh, help.
Okay.
The scapegoat is rubbing off on the Crimson.
I think a little too close to home. Because
Hey, let me finish before I get interrupted here. As I was saying, I would be so kind of you if you watched your health and yourself, Fluttershy, but staying up so late, trying to figure out a cure for your friend, that was noble of you. But you got to the point of where you exhaust yourself, and you did not get a good night's rest, and you also got affected as well.
No, isn't that kind of the point of the episode, though? Wasn't it the point to get the message across?
Yeah, it is. I mean, hey, I understand what the message was getting across for, but still.
I figured it out right off the bat. And second, Twilight's done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember in Dragon Quest where she tried to do research upon dragons just for Spike? She stayed up all night to get that research going, but even though she found nothing, it's admirable. Look, just to show she really cares for Spike.
Mm-hmm. Everyone has their moments of being stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ask Applejack, she'll tell you everything.
I hate my hat. I don't want it. I'm being stubborn. I hate my hat. I hate your hat, too.
I'll have you know I'm not wearing a hat.
Hey, I'm Applejack. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Anyways, anything else comes in?
That's all my negatives. I'm gonna pass it off now.
Yeah, before we move on, can I say that the funniest part about the episode was with Fluttershy at the door?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
To me, that kind of felt like a reference to Applebug season when Applejack hit her head on the branch.
Anyone that lives in the tree is okay with me.
Maybe it wasn't a reference, but that's what I thought of when I saw that. Maybe it wasn't a reference at
I
all.
was just trying to figure that out, too. I was like, why did she hit the door? Like, why did she do that? Like,
And then Fluttershy goes, well, if I can't open the door, I'm gonna dig in.
I'm just gonna walk through the door.
Yeah.
I'm like,
walk through the door.
okay.
Yeah,
Fluttershy,
I would admit. Yeah, I would admit Fluttershy was. Go on, Venom.
I was gonna say, okay, Fluttershy, I know you're sleep deprived and everything, and it's causing you not to think straight, but that's something that Pinkie Pie would do.
I mean, there's a door there, Fluttershy. You don't see it from where you're standing?
As I said, I guess Fluttershy forgot that doorknobs exist.
I thought the door was farther away.
Anyways, alright, Sharpwit.
Well, for my negative, I would go with the fact that, okay, Sakura got sick with that pretty much unknown sickness, which there was no cure for that, and Fluttershy was so determined to find a cure. Okay, yeah, that is a pretty noble. That is a pretty noble. Okay, but for me, it kind of sends a bad message to the children. That that no matter what, if you might try super hard, you will find a cure for every sickness.
Which is not true.
Exactly, that's the problem. That's why this message might be a false message for kids.
Well,
Not every sickness can be cured. Then sometimes you have to deal with the situation that you might not be able to help, no matter how much you want. I know the MLP won't go with that road because, come on, death is a pretty much taboo in this series. But still,
The villain is shitty enough.
Yeah, but I think the episode was not actually aiming for that in particular. It's like having determination and even the courage to finding a cure.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, think about it. How long has humanity actually trying to find a cure for cancer?
Good point.
And even then, with all the time that have already been spent on the disease itself, they are still determined to find anything, even if it's just something to slow down the process.
Good point.
Aren't some cancers curable now, though?
True.
There are, but this also depends. There are no like you take this medicine and boom, you have no cancer. There are situations when you can go through the treatment, and even then the cancer won't be cured.
Okay, I admit for an extreme lucky case or an unrealistic case, true, but I think that was not the intention at all. Still,
No. But the show has left far worse implications when it comes to their messages, and potentially even more dangerous. So pretty much all me.
true.
Stop reminding me of that episode, Venom, or I'm going to tear your floof out from the root!
Don't worry, Venom, I'll protect you.
I'll save you.
Anyways.
What, are you now the Floof Knights, or what is going on here?
Anything else, Sharpwit?
No, that's all.
Alright, Violet.
9 on Sakura on this episode.
Thank you.
Point and blank.
Well, it's true. I mean, okay, sure, I can kind of understand why Sakura doesn't appear that much in the previous episode that she was in, but this one, come on!
Oh, jeez. Here we go again. That didn't happen last week, and it's gonna happen here.
I mean, sure it's not.
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, sure it's nice that they actually went and talked with Sakura before they tried to find the cure at Meadowbrook's home. But when Twilight said that she had gotten some word from Sakura, that should have been a little bit more, like maybe a tiny flashback or something like that.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. At least shows how serious it's getting with Sakura when it said that she's starting to sprout leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got anything else, Violet?
Nah, that's it.
Alright,
I have one slight negative not to do with the actual episode.
and that would be...
Iskierka! Iskierka! That's stuck in my head! Ah! Get it!
The Russian version of Twilight's name.
Not to mention that I think this name particularly translates as sparkle. Not sure because I don't know the Russian. So technically, Fluttershy refers to Twilight not as Twilight, but she refers to Twilight as sparkle, which is not kind of natural for me. Not to mention they didn't translate the Fluttershy name, but they had to translate the Twilight's name.
Calm down, wit.
And the worst part of this whole Russian thing. This name is stuck in my head! Get it off me! Get it off my head!
I'm calling you wit.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I think this time it's actually broken sharp words. It's the hashtag.
He broke all of us.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, at least I know I have something to trigger him now. That's some good information.
Don't even try, okay? Don't even try, or you're gonna be a bald dragon with no hair and no scales.
I think the trophy's gone dry now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Definite highlight.
Well, if you want me to not say it, you have to pay me. You have to pay me a legendary core every month.
Okay, so you're gonna be a bald dragon. No hair, no clothes, no scales.
Ooh, I'll eat his hair.
Okay, Okay, Balto, I can give you his hair, along with this brain maggot known as the Iskierka.
Okay. Alright, let's move on to our readies before we really break ourselves here. So, Violet?
Okay, I'll give the levels a 5 out of 5.
5.
Uh,
Oh my goodness. Shufflet?
I'm debating
Revoke Shufflet.
giving this episode 4 and then giving this 4.5 out of 5.
Which one are you gonna give it?
You know what? I'll give it 4.5.
Alright. Sounds good. Okay, Crimson?
Let's see. For this episode, I will give this 3 out of 5.
3? Huh. Interesting.
For whatever reason, I don't even know.
I think I can figure it out right away. Is it because the episode didn't leave much of an impact on you?
Pretty much, and we didn't get much Zakora that we kind of thought or hoped for, because we haven't been seeing her as of late.
true.
Yeah, good point. It didn't really bother me too much because I kind of expect it now, but it's a good point. Kanata?
I'm gonna give this episode a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. Huh. A lot lower rings than I expected. That's gonna be interesting. Neon?
Well, it was actually a pretty good episode. Not perfect, but still a pretty good one. I think I give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Sounds good to me, bro. Looney?
I give this one a 4.5 out of 5. Just because I didn't like some of the implications this one to find.
Honestly, I found the implications kind of fascinating. So that's just me. David?
I'm gonna have to give this episode 4 out of 5.
Alrighty. 4 out of 5 it is. 4 out of 5. As for me, I'm gonna give this episode a 4.5 out of 5. Granted, it's not perfect or anything, but I still really enjoyed. I enjoyed this episode almost throughout. I mean, sure, the beginning was a bit forced, and the Doctor character left some not good qualities, and there were some pretty dark implications in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love some of the comedy in the episode. The Fluttershy banging on the door was the biggest highlight. Fluttershy
Just like how
herself.
Twilight fell into bed too.
Oh yeah, that mean face. Fluttershy herself is really fun, great character. Twilight is also great as a supporting character.
Which is actually surprising.
Yeah, I know it is very surprising. So yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. It's not perfect, and I won't make it one of my favorites, but it's still pretty darn good. Scapegoat.
I give it 4 out of 5.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I wonder what our final rating is gonna be. Because I'm getting a pretty good idea of what it is.
I'd say it's going to be a 4 out of 5.
Balto?
3.
Oh wow, you're tied with Crimson. Alrighty. That could be worked with. Yeah, I apologize for the lack of energy. I think we're a little too broken from that previous interaction.
I'm not broken. I'm okay.
Well, most of us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just did the math, and the overall group rating for A Health of Information is not a 4 out of 5.
Shoot. There goes my prediction.
It is actually
4.5?
a 3.5 out of 5.
Huh.
Ah, so close.
I was not expecting that because didn't like only 3 people give it like a 3.5 or below? Me, Crimson, and Balto.
Yeah,
True.
but
Yeah.
not many people gave it a pass of. Not many people gave it a pass of 4 either.
Well,
I thought there would be more. I thought there would be more 4s and 4.5s to counteract the 3 people that gave it a 3.5 or lower.
Well, that's what it says in the math.
That's
That's weird.
George
One
5.
person even give it a 5. One person even give it a 5 out of 5. That's just weird.
Crimson, thank you.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Heck was that?
I'll take your word for it, Venom. I just think that feels weird.
I'm double checking just in case.
well, Endless just gave her rating, and it's right on that chat.
Yeah, I saw it.
7 people give it a 4 or higher, and yet it's not to be a 3.5.
That's actually really
That
surprising.
does seem a little bit old.
And okay, little update here on the rating because I actually got a little error.
Knew it.
That's what I thought. I knew it didn't look right.
Thought for a minute though, our group rating was rigged.
It is actually a 4 out of 5.
There we go.
Hold up.
There we go.
That makes
I was about to say, are you sure that your calculator is actually working with all the floof?
Okay.
Probably blew up on him.
happier
I've got
with
some
my
proof
math
on my
skills. You're
calculator.
doing a
Something's
good job.
wrong.
Well, then again,
Maybe divided by 0.
well,
No.
you cannot divide by 0. It's impossible. But anyways, got that out of my system. So that'll be all for this here podcast this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next week when we tackle Marks and